Hello, welcome back to Introduction to Blender for Maya Users, Part 3, Transforming Objects. In Part 1, we went over the introduction to the interface. In Part 2, we learned how to navigate in the 3D space like we do in Maya, while retaining the default Blender hotkeys and shortcuts. In this Part 3, we will go over the moving, rotating, and scaling of objects in the 3D viewport. Let's get started. First, I'm going to go through Blender's default transformation tools, which are different than Maya. But then, I'll show you a way to transform objects in Blender like you do in Maya if you prefer to stick with what you already know. Select an object by left-clicking on it. You will know it's selected by the orange highlight. In Blender, the equivalent to W, E, and R, or move, rotate, and scale is the G key for grab, the R key for rotate, and the S key for scale. With the cube selected, let's press the G key on the keyboard. The cube outline turns to white, but nothing else seems to happen at first. While the cube is white, move the mouse around on the screen without pressing any other buttons or keys. You can now move the cube around. Although very arbitrary, as you can't really tell if it's going up or down, or back and forth from this view, and there aren't any transform gizmos. While the cube is still selected and in the grab mode, press the X key on your keyboard. The cube now snaps to the X-axis. Now when you drag your mouse, it sticks to the X-axis, so you know it's staying on the plane it is on, and just moving back and forth in space. While still in this mode, press the Y button. And again, the cube snaps over to the Y-axis just like before. And yes, pressing the Z key while in this mode will snap the cube to the Z-axis, and a blue axis line appears. To release the cube, when you are done transforming, simply press the left mouse button to place it, and it goes back to being selected with the orange outline. Press Ctrl Z to undo this movement. Let's try again with the G key. Make sure the object is selected and press G. This time, hold the middle mouse button on your mouse, and move the object around. You will notice it snaps to the X, Y, or Z axis depending on how you move your mouse. When ready, release the middle mouse button and left-click to place. Press Ctrl Z to undo again. One last thing to show you with the G key. Press G, then start moving your cube around in space. If while in this mode, you decide you want to cancel this operation, simply press the Escape key and the cube goes back to where it was before you press G. By this time you might be asking, where is the Move gizmo? And that would be a great question. I'll go through the Rotate and Scale tools first, and then circle back to show you how to get the gizmos that you are used to in Maya. If you enjoy this video, please tap the like button and subscribe to our channel to get notified when new videos are posted. Select the cube and press the R key for rotate. The same white outline appears. Move your mouse around a bit. It rotates, but maybe not in the way you wanted. While still in the white outline mode, press the X key and move your mouse. Notice it's now constrained to rotating on the X-axis. Press Y, and the same happens, and pressing Z now constrains the rotation to the Z-axis. Using the middle mouse button works the same, and snaps the rotation to the axis you are closest to, however the control is a bit wonky. Undo to put your cube back to where it was. And now press S for scale. Once the white outline appears, moving the mouse will scale the object uniformly up or down. Pressing X, Y, or Z will constrain the scaling to that axis. Press Escape key while highlighted to return the cube to its original scale. Press S again. This time hold the Control key down while you move the mouse around. In the upper left corner of the screen, you can see that it's now snapping to 0.1 increments. When you have the size cube you want, press the left mouse button to place. I'm going to undo this so my cube is back to where it started. Okay. Let's go over to the tools on the left side here. Left hover over the edge of the tools until the double-sided arrow icon appears, and left-click drag to the right to reveal the tool names. With the cube selected, click on the Move tool. Aha! There is our gizmo. You can use this gizmo just like the one in Maya. Click on any axis to drag, or click on the little squares to move on that plane. I'm going to undo that. Now click on the Rotate tool. Again, the Rotate gizmo comes up. You can now use it to rotate the cube visually. Again, Pressing Ctrl while moving, rotating, or scaling will snap to increments. Click on the Scale tool. And once again, the scale gizmo appears as expected. Hover over the Move tool until the tooltip appears. Notice it says the shortcut to this tool is the G key. However, as we just saw, selecting the cube and then pressing G does not bring up the gizmos. So, at this point we have a choice to make. We can leave everything as is, knowing that when we want the gizmos to show, we have to select the tools on the left. Or we can change this behavior to be more like Maya. I'll show you this now. Go up to the Edit menu, and go down to the Preferences sub-menu. Click on Key Map menu item on the left. Find the Tool Keys item, and click on Active Tool instead of Immediate. And close the Preferences. Now click on an object, and press G. You now have the Maya transformation tools at hand. Try the letter R for rotate. And finally, press the S key for scale. The scale tool is a bit tricky, and you really need to make sure you are clicking on the very center of the gizmo to scale proportionally in all 3 dimensions. With that said, what if you want specific control over how much you move, rotate, or scale an object? Click on the cube to select it. If the Properties menu on the right doesn't update with the transform information of the cube, make sure the orange object icon is pressed. Now you should have the location, rotation, and scale information of the cube. Now you can easily change this information manually. Let's scale the cube back to 1. I can click any individual field, or if I click drag over all 3 inputs and then type 1, it will replace all 3 inputs. Same with location and rotation, I can zero these out. With the cube still selected, and with the cursor in the 3D viewport, press the letter N on your keyboard. The side menu should open up. Make sure the item menu is selected on the right side. This is another way to get to the transform information of an object. This is convenient, because sometimes you are working with other elements inside of the Properties menu. For example, over in the Properties area, click on the Materials icon at the bottom. This changes the menu to reflect the material of the object selected. But you still have access to the transform information in the little pop-out menu. I'm going to quickly go over an introduction to pivot or origin points just to give you an overview on how they work in Blender. Let's select the default cube and move it off to the right a bit away from the scene origin. At the moment, the default pivot of this object is at its center. Let's say we wanted to change that and have it so the pivot is on one of the edges so it will rotate like a door or hinge. Select the cube. If it's not already open, press the N key to open the side menu. Click on the Tool menu. Then under Options/Transform, click the Origins box. You might notice a small change in the gizmo. It is now labeled X, Y, and Z in very thin type. This is telling me that I am about to move the origin and not the object. Let's do that. I'm going to click on the green arrow and slide it to the left and release. I have now moved the origin point of the cube, and thus, the rotate and scale point. I can tumble around the view a bit to get an idea of where it's at. Let's say I wanted it exactly on the bottom edge of the cube. With the cube still selected, and origin still checked off in the Options menu on the right, go up to the middle of the top of the 3D viewport, and click on the magnet icon to highlight it. Then drop down the little menu beside it. Let's choose Edge. Now click and drag the gizmo from the center, and you will see it now snaps to edges. I can snap to the side, or front, or the bottom one, which is what I want. When you are done, release the mouse. Go ahead and turn off snapping for now. In the side menu, uncheck Origins. And now press the R key for rotate. Use the gizmo to rotate the object around its edge. Great! Let's say I want to recenter the pivot point back to the center of the cube. With the cube selected, go up to the Object menu, go down to the Set Origin submenu, and select Origin to Geometry. This will recenter the pivot as it was by default. One last item to review during this video, so you have a basic understanding of it, is what Blender calls the 3D cursor. The 3D cursor is that little gizmo at the center of the origin. It can help you when moving elements around in the scene. For example, click on the cube to select it. Press Shift S on your keyboard. This brings up a pie menu. Click Selection to Cursor at the top, and the object will snap its pivot point to the 3D cursor. This is very helpful when you want to move something to where the cursor is at. To move the cursor, you can click on the cursor tool in the left toolbar, and then click anywhere in the 3D viewport. This will move it. However, once again, it's quite arbitrary and not very controllable. So with the cursor tool still selected, click on the magnet icon at the top like we did before, and this time drop down the menu and select Grid. Now when you move the cursor, it snaps to the grid. You can even snap it back to the origin where it started. Alright, that wraps up this video. You can now move, rotate, and scale objects in the scene using standard Maya tools, as well as edit the transform information of an object in the Properties editor or the end menu from the side. You can move your pivot point of your object and snap it to a multitude of options including geometry or the grid. In Part 4, we will be doing an introduction to modeling in Blender for Maya users. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Also, please leave a note in the comments with any questions or things I could have done differently. Check out other videos on my YouTube channel. Best wishes to you. Now go create.